I stated it earlier, and I just want to kind of touch on it again. Some of you believe that because you're worrying about something, you're fretting about something, that there's some spiritual benefit from it. You know, Scripture continuously tells us, don't worry. Yes. You know, about what you should eat, drink, you know, where your success. Don't worry about those. Go back to what Linda was saying. Start thinking from the thing that you desire, the thing that you want to manifest, as was stated earlier when we read Lisa Marie's work. Get in the frequency of, Neville called it being in state. Get in state of the thing that you want to desire. See yourself as already being that person.
That's right. That's it. That's what the mansions are, your states of consciousness. So make it a lovely one. Well, we're told to think only on things that are lovely and good, right? Why would they press that? You see, because we're not getting the benefits we should be getting. There's so much. Neville said it several times. There's so much more being offered than we're taking advantage of. We're the ones denying ourselves. God's not denying anybody. He tells you, He's not denying you. He gave you ask. I mean, if I was going to deny you, I wouldn't tell you to ask.
Absolutely.
I just tell you what to do and shut up.
You know, and it goes back to what Neville would often say, is that most of us, the truth be told, we're just poor dreamers.
That's it. You know, he did say that quite often, that man is just poor dreamers. That's it. And that is it. And I find I'm one of those.
Absolutely. Likewise.
You know, I mean, it's all yours. It's all yours. You can do whatever you want. That's the thing. But what do you want? See, most people really don't know what they want. If you ask 10 people, what's your dream? Well, most of them don't even have a dream. They're too busy being busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in not knowing, you're receiving.
Oh, yes.
You understand? If you don't know what it is that you want, what it is that you're manifesting is the want that you're manifesting. And if it's chaos, it's because that's what your desire is basically attracting to you at the moment.
Well, you see, that people don't understand. Their world is coming through them, not to them. You're told not to judge by appearances, and that's what everybody does. They judge by appearances. And if you judge by appearances, that's the same old down the line. But it's like when people ask, well, what is the next life like? This is it.
We've had the conversation, so I understand completely. But for the person that may be hearing this for the first time, explain that a little bit, please.
There's nothing transforming in death, we're told. You die ding-dong, you get to play ding-dong again.
Absolutely.
That's it. So nothing changes until you change your mind, you change your world. It's that simple. If you keep it simple, you'll probably remember it. If you don't, you'll forget it.
You know, and it's funny that you make mention of that, because I remember as a kid, I always thought, you know, when people died, for example, when they made the transition, I always believed that, you know, even though they were cruel, for whatever reason, I thought that they would go into the next life and they would be angelic. But Scripture does not confirm my belief. As a matter of fact, it does just the opposite. If you go to Revelations, it says, he who dies filthy is filthy still. He who is a dog will be a dog still. You know, so that's what Scripture says. But in my mind's eye, I wanted to believe that once they died, that all of a sudden they would become this nice person, even though the whole time that I've experienced this person in my life, they were mean. But it goes back to a sowing of a seed. You can't sow an apple seed and then think you're going to get an orange tree. It's impossible.
That's it. I remember a friend of mine, he was contemplating suicide. And I go, well, you're going to be disappointed about that. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, you're just going to play the same part again. And I said, at least here you got a handle on it. There you have to start all over again.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're not laughing at suicide. We know that that's a serious matter, but what he's trying to get you to see is the big picture here.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that they're going to kill themselves and all of a sudden it's going to be better in the next life. No, you're taking yourself with you. Lindell stated earlier, and Neville said it often about these, the mansions, the different states. Many people believe that they're going to move from one state and move to another state, and all of a sudden they're going to be in this new neighborhood. And this is kind of a metaphor, but they're going to be in this new neighborhood, and all of a sudden everything's going to magically be better.
Yeah.
But wherever you go, you take yourself with you.
It's called wishful thinking.
Absolutely. Wishful, magical, whatever, fantasized thinking. But unless you change,
that's it.
Then the new environment that you find yourself in is actually going to be a reflection of your old environment.
Yeah. You see, people don't really understand that God has given them the voice to say their say. What is your say you're saying? Is it believable to you, or is it just nonsense? Look, you have the choice every day to invest in yourself or just spend your time, and spending it means you don't get anything back from it. You don't really. I mean, you can sit and watch that television for hours and hours and hours, and then the next day you don't even remember what you watched.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can attest to that. I mean, my wife and I could be watching a program, and we go to see the next episode, and we're like, well, what episode were we on before, and what happened in that episode? So I agree with you.
So, but you see, that's just it. That's wasting your life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's practical, and Scripture very plainly tells you that everything must be an investment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how your benefits come to you. You're making an investment. If you're not making an investment, you get nothing out of it.
Absolutely.
So it's very look. It's really practical. You know, people are always concerned about what they'd be giving up. You're not giving up anything. You're just enhancing it.
Correct. You know, and this was the practical message of Jesus. And this, what we're talking about, if you get, this is not religion, what we're talking about. What we're talking about is kingdom living. This is how the kingdom works. And when you begin applying the principles that we're talking about, that we talk about weekly, you know, these continual broadcasts and so forth, what you're getting is the tools for a successful life, because now you understand more readily how life works. But it's not because of what DeCarlo and Lindell is saying. This is Bible. Only thing we're doing is expounding Bible to you, what's come through us and what we've experienced. So listen to what's being said and don't miss it. This is how life works. And so your thoughts, your words, your actions are the seeds of your tomorrow being sown today, right now.
That's it. That's it. You have to learn how to operate mind. You just go, just haphazard at things, and just most anything can happen to you. But the idea is that if you're in charge, and you are in charge, even if you're out of charge, you're still the one steering, right? Okay,
absolutely.
Got that straight. You're the one who's choosing. But what is it that you're choosing? I mean, what attitudes are you holding, and why? And not that you're justified, because this is not about justifying anything. Self-justification, as we have already stated, that's the voice of hell. So what you're trying to do is to put together your own little scenario of how things work. And you see how it works every day, but are you taking notice? Because it's as you think you're experiencing, your everydayness is exactly that. So if you're putting into it lovely and a good report, you'll be experiencing lovely and a good report. If you put into it nonsense or mischievousness, then you'll be experiencing that. So you're in charge even if you're out of control.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's
so
right. Absolutely.
With that being said, being in charge, my question to you, creators out there, what type of life do you want for yourself? Begin thinking on that and thinking from that. Now, it's not magical. So it's not you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and everything's going to be changed. It's a process. Some things happen quicker than others. But think on what it is that you desire. Yep. And leave alone the things that you don't. Most of us have given so much time to all the things that we don't want in our world, and we wonder why we keep reproducing the same thing.
Really, really. You were given to name it, and then it was yours.
You're naming the monsters in your life, bottom line.
Of course. Of course. You know, think of it as, people think of a lot of what we're saying is about fantasy, but that's what it all is. It's all a fantasy. There's only God.
Yeah.
You know, He created us to live a plush life, and then gave us choice to live a plush life. But are we living a plush life?
Yeah.
Or a survival one?
Well, you know, it really goes back to the title of the bookstore that you had and the talk that you used to give, the Metaphysical Art Theater.
Mm-hmm.
Life is a play, and we're all actors in our play.
That's right. That's right. And as Shakespeare said, each man in his time plays many parts,
Absolutely.
but didn't use them. You see, that's the difference that makes the difference. Are you choosing the parts you're playing? Or you feel as though you're being drawn in or pulled into them? It isn't so. You have to agree with it or you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
You had to agree somewhere along the line, because God doesn't make mistakes. If someone made a mistake, I'd have to say it was me.
Absolutely. And the thing is, when you go back to most of us, again, when we hear the word God, we're still looking at this being outside of us.
Yeah, right.
Neville liked to bring it home, and he would call God our imagination.
That's right.
What are we giving our thoughts to? Because, see, that's what we're creating. We're in this creative substance, each and every one of us. And being a part of that creative substance, we have in us that same ability to create. And mind has been given that ability. So whatever we're giving mind to, that's what we're creating.
It draws, yeah. Like I said, creation is finished. You're only choosing from already finished creation. See, everything is already done. Everything that you want, everything that you desire is already completed. But it's you who has to claim it. See, that's it. Everybody wants to pray and beg and plead with God, but they don't want to claim what they say they believe. It doesn't. I don't understand how you can say you believe something and then not go by it. I've already tried.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give it your best effort all the time so that it becomes a permanent part of your doing. That's the whole thing. That's what the reiteration is about. And like the guy said, well, it seems like a waste of time to me. Well, let me tell you this. I've listened to Neville's tapes for many, many, many years. And every time I pull something out and listen to it again, I hear something I didn't hear before. Or I thought something I didn't think before. And that's how it works. What you're looking for is looking for you. If you're looking for why it doesn't work or why you're not making it, that's what you'll find. As within, so without. You can test it for yourself. You don't need anybody. You don't need to join anything. You just test it for yourself. Sit in the silence, feel after him, and you'll find him. You doing, being, having your dream. But you have to really feel after it. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's just thinking and feeling correctly that you see correctly. Because when I was a kid, I was taught that seeing is believing. Everybody says, well, when I see it, I'll believe it. Well, Scripture's had it for thousands of years that believing is seeing.
Absolutely.
So that means then that you got to do it.
And like I said, I believe that a lot of this we've made so religious that we've lost the practical vision to be able to see. Because when Linda was talking about thinking correctly. We call that righteous thinking.